Hey, 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 beautiful people. It's your girl, Tracey. Thanks for joining me today for this live. Cleaning up my camera lens as I wait for you guys to join me and making sure it's off so we won't be disrupted or interrupted, shall I say. I am so excited. I've been wanting to do this for a minute, so I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. While we're waiting on people to join us, why don't we just get caught up with one another? Hey Janice, how you doing, beautiful? Thanks for joining me. Y'all, I'm loving my tea. Let me show you what my tea looks like because it's exactly what we need to be doing. Be your own kind of beautiful. Because let me tell you, I have caught myself looking outside of myself for beauty when I carry it with me every day. I picked this tea up years ago, and I believe I got it at Walmart. Yes. We forget because we hear so many negative things in the media, on social media, just out in the streets about how women are supposed to be, particularly if you are a Black woman. And we forget how beautiful we are. And beauty ain't just on the outside. Matter of fact, you can be the prettiest person in the world, the most beautiful person in the world, and have the ugliest inside, which will make you ugly. So yes, hey Sanine, beautiful. How you doing? How you doing? Y'all, if y'all have any questions for me, drop them in the comments. Hey Jen, hey beautiful. I was just talking about you yesterday with James. I got to call Sharon too. I'm so glad you popped up because I've been meaning to call her all week. If you have any questions or any topics that you want me to discuss during this live, drop them in the comments or let me see, how else can you? Yeah, that's probably the only way. If you didn't already send me your question, the only way I can answer your questions or talk about specific thing is if you put it in the comments. So drop them in the comments and everything is on the table within reason. If I don't feel comfortable answering it, I'm not going to answer it. Period, point blank. Boundaries, people. Boundaries. All right. All right. So, how's everybody's day been? My day has been great. Oh, Barbie. Hey, Gary. Ah, you guys are so, y'all. Okay. I was at um, Thousand Trails campground, and I will talk about Thousand Trails in another video. If you don't know about it, if you're not part of the RV community yet, you're gonna learn about Thousand Trails. But I was at the campground in Yemassee. I think it's the Oaks in Yemassee, South Carolina. And I pulled in beside another couple that looks like me, Gary and Jenny Nurse. And when I tell y'all, they embraced me from the moment they laid eyes on me, they embraced me and they have been invaluable as friends. I consider them as family though. They were one of the first people to reach out to me when they realized that I had been in a fire. I did let them know. And when I tell you they checked on me, checked on me, checked on me. So, mwah, to both of you, my new brothers and sisters. The messages are coming through slowly, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I know one of the big burning questions many people have is what the Hammond Brown Jennings happened, but I'm gonna even go backwards and I'm gonna fill you in. just a little bit, because I do want to do a video about how I actually got into RVing. And actually, you know what? I'm going to save that. I'm going to make that a video because, hey, Tanny, I'm going to make that a video because a lot of people, there is a huge story behind it. And I hope that it's going to be inspirational for someone, particularly a woman, whether it be, it don't matter what your ethnicity is, but particularly a woman, and even a married woman, because of course I'm married and I RV by myself, although my husband is starting to get into it. But on Tuesday, July 5th, I was leaving Savannah, Georgia, and I was headed to Tallahassee because my trip was to go down the coastline, the southern coastline towards the west. So my end goal was I was going to go to Joshua Tree in California. But in doing so, I was going through Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and then going upward towards New Mexico, Colorado, and so forth. At any rate, well, I left my campground. I had an amazing campsite, which I did a short video on that, and I'm going to upload it. I hate uploading it after the fact, but I put the work in. We're going to get that video up. At any rate, so I hooked my car up. My husband had gifted me a 2019 Kia Soul base model 6-speed because I was going to be towing it 4 wheels down. And I had towed it. He got it for me. And I got it on June 10th. And we got the tow package put on. I learned how to set her up. I was so proud of myself because if you've never done something like that, you don't know what to expect. And I didn't know anybody that was towing except Sharon, which she wasn't even towing her RV when I met her. So, and Gary and Jenny, they tow a 5th wheel, which is very different than setting up a car 4 wheels down. So at any rate, I left Skidaway Island State Park in Savannah, and it is a nice park. And I had an amazing campsite. I didn't get a mile and a half. Actually, let me back up. When I started my RV up that morning, took my leveling jacks down. And if you don't know anything about RV, and leveling jacks is actually what they are. They level your RV so that when you turn on your refrigerator and all the things, you're not like this. You are balanced, okay? And I write myself a note every night before I leave a campsite of anything that I have not completed so that I can make sure I get it done. And I have a checklist that I keep mentally, and I also have on my phone to help me remember to make sure that my refrigerator is off, that my propane tank is turned off, that I've checked to make sure that my leveling jacks are all up and nothing is stuck, to make sure that I've disconnected my city water connection if I'm on city water, and my electrical, so that I'm not pulling off with the pedestal or anything. So I have a whole set of things that I do. And because I've been RVing for a bit of time, I knew what I needed to do. So my list was very short. The only thing that was on that list was to, one, make sure that my car was in the AC position, make sure that the handbrake was disengaged, and to make sure that I lock the doors because I don't want nobody jumping in my car trying to steal my car while I'm towing it. Okay. I think those were the only 3 things. And the other thing had something to do with on the inside of the RV, which might have been like, make sure that I put the food in my portable refrigerator. At any rate, so when I cranked Liberty Serenity up, she was fine. I went out and did everything I was supposed to do. I went to the campground. And even though I have my own shower in my RV, I used the campground facility so that I didn't have to deal with, cleaning my shower, wiping it down and all that stuff. And hey, I don't have to worry about how much water I use at the campground. Let's just be for real. All right. So got ready to go, and Liberty Serenity, I put her in gear and I pulled off, and she was acting funny. Y'all, Liberty Serenity was in excellent condition. Okay. She never gave me no problems, but she acted like she didn't want to go. Like, it was weird. So I kept on going. I was like, well, maybe since I've been parked for like 6 days, maybe she just having a little moment. Maybe she peeved or something. I don't know. So by the time I got to dump my tanks in an RV, you have your gray tank, you have a freshwater tank, and you have a black tank, which is for your waste. Well, I had to imp my black and my gray tank. So when I got up there to imp, everything was fine. Something said, check your tow vehicle. I kept checking my tow vehicle. Like, I don't know why I kept it. God was telling me to check it. But that really wasn't what he was telling me. He was telling me something was getting ready to happen to it, but I didn't know it at the time. But the Holy Spirit kept telling me check it, and so I would go back and make sure it was in neutral, make sure that it was in the AC position, make sure the handbrake was disengaged, make sure all the cables were right. So anyway, kept going, finished emptying my tanks and everything. And so I got to the entrance of where the intersection of Diamond Causeway and Skidaway State, I think it's called State Park Road. And Liberty started acting funny again. So I took the right as if I was going to go to my next destination. And I pulled over. There was a little area where I could pull over without being in anybody's way. And so I double checked. I checked my oil again. I checked my transmission fluid again. I checked to make sure everything was right on Liberty. And I checked my Kia Soul again, too, just to make sure. And an older man did help me. He stopped. He didn't have to really help me, but he offered. So I did allow him to, be kind, because you don't block people blessings that way. When someone offers to help you, especially if your spirit is jiving with them, I give them the opportunity to be of service, because God may have sent him to me for a reason. At any rate, we couldn't figure out. He was like, everything looks good. And anywho, so I sat there for a minute and I was like, let me call around and see if I can find a shop nearby that can really give her a look over and see what's going on, because I'm not feeling her acting this way and I'm getting ready to head to the West Coast. I need to make sure she's good, because girl not trying to get stranded nowhere. Okay. I called about 15, 20 dealerships that work on semis and commercial trucks. Not one, when I tell you not one shop in that Savannah area would work on a F53 V10 Triton transmission in an RV. And I would get referrals to two of the same companies. And I was like, I already talked to them. They said they don't do this. So I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but I started calling in Tallahassee, Florida, and I found someone in Tallahassee, Florida. I was like, well, if it's still acting up when I get to Tallahassee, because it was only going to be like, if I'm not mistaken, to get to Tallahassee from Savannah was only going to be like maybe 3 to 5 hours. And I take breaks in between. So I was like, it should be okay. Well, the Kia Soul had other ideas. So I got back on the road, and when I tell you I got less than, I know I didn't even get a quarter of a mile. And I looked in my camera, and I could see smoke coming up out of the hood of my Kia. I was like, what the Hammer and Brown Jennings is going on? So I put the RV, Liberty Serenity, into park, cut my hazard lights on, jumped out. And when I jumped out the car and I looked, I don't know what made me look up under the bottom, because the smoke was coming up from here, from the top, right? But when I was walking, I started looking up under the bottom of the Kia Soul. Mind you, I didn't smell anything. That is the funniest thing, because I've been recanting this in my mind. I didn't smell anything, nothing like brakes, nothing like something burning, like maybe my brake didn't get disengaged, even though I knew I had disengaged the handbrake. Didn't smell anything. But what I did see was something running out of the bottom of the car, but I didn't smell anything. And I saw fire. Y'all, I ran back into my RV, yanked my fire extinguisher off the wall, and I pulled that clip, girl, y'all would have thought I was a firewoman the way I was putting that fire out of that car, okay? So I went not just around the front of the car where I saw the fire under the bottom. And it was like I said, it was under the bottom. It wasn't at the top. I didn't open the hood or anything. It was under the bottom. Anywho, I even went around all of the car and just sprayed up under the bottom as much as I could until that fire extinguisher was empty. So I was like, oh my God. When I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. I don't know what's going on. So I looked to my left and there was a Kroger. I was like, okay, if I can get off of this main highway and go to and pull the RV over to the Kroger, I can unhook the Kia Soul and maybe get someone to come, a mobile mechanic to come and see what's going on, because I wasn't going to drive it. Or I could take the RV somewhere. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that I wanted to get off of the highway. Y'all, let me tell you, it wasn't for me to get off that highway, okay? Because I cranked the RV up and I may have gone 10 feet before a passenger on my driver's side, someone in their vehicle said, your car is on fire. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Put her back in park, turn the hazard lights on. And I was like, you know what, God, whatever is happening right now, I'm going to save me. I don't know if this is going to be something really extreme. I grabbed my purse. I grabbed my keys. I turned the RV off. I grabbed my cell phone and I got the Hammond Brown Jennings up out of Liberty Serenity. Okay. If I had been thinking, hindsight being 2020, maybe I would have thought about maybe disconnecting the car from the RV. But at the time, it was on fire. And I was not trying to go and put myself in jeopardy to try to save a car or RV. That's what I got insurance for. So I called 911, told the people what was going on. And there was this young guy. I don't even know if he was young, but there was this young man. I'm just going to say that young man on a bicycle. And he was like, the fire department is right around the corner. It shouldn't take them no time to get here. He was like, I don't know. And he just kept telling me, come on, move away from it, move away from it. And I was moving because y'all recognize this. What I knew for sure was both of the vehicles were full of gas, because I don't travel without my vehicles being full, right? So they were both full of gas. And I was like, this is some crazy stuff right here. So I was like, I don't know if something's going to blow up, but I'm getting the heck away from it. And I just moved down. Eventually the fire department got there, but the fire in the Kia Soul it was so fast that it traveled from the front end. And when I tell y'all, that fire burned like somebody had poured fuel on it. It burned that fast. I have never seen anything burn that fast. But if the fire department had gotten there maybe 3 to 5 minutes sooner, because it took them at least a minute and a half to get water going, I don't think my RV would have caught on fire, but it did. I'm safe. It looks worse than it was. And, my family was very scared. And I never felt that I was in danger. The only thing that I was concerned with was that was my home. Then I would have to go find somewhere to stay. And when you have stayed in an RV and you compare it to staying in a hotel, there is no comparison. Because in my RV, I have my whole bed, my queen bed, my stuff. I know my sheets are clean. I know my pillows are clean. I ain't got to worry about no bed bugs and stuff like that. I don't have to worry about whether or not it has been cleaned. I know because I clean it myself. I can go into my kitchen and fix a meal, go into my refrigerator without any problem. I could use my bathroom, take a shower, sit down and watch TV, all the things. It was my house. So that's what was concerning to me. And then I felt bad because I ain't had the car but 3 weeks and it's gone. It was gone, guys. Y'all, if you see y'all saw the pictures on Facebook or Instagram, that car was gone. Okay. When I saw the car at the what do you call the place where they take your car? The salvage or whatever you call it, the record service. I was looking at that car like, y'all, when I say it melted my cell phone holder, it melted anything that was up there. I don't even remember what was up there. I don't think I know. It was like, I thought I had a cell phone holder up there. Gone, guys, melted. It wasn't even melted. It was gone because that whole part of the dash, that's how that heat from that fire melted all that. Even my tow bar, guys. The tow bar was, if I'm not mistaken, it was aluminum. I think it was aluminum, right? The tow bar is these steel things that you stick. Girl, let me tell y'all, gone. Gone. I have never seen anything like it. Okay, the car is totaled, and I was told that the RV is going to be totaled also because they said the repairs were going to be like $50,000 plus. I knew it was going to be because the RV, the roof of the RV in the back bedroom, the whole back wall, part of my slide was charred. Heck, my whole spare tire it didn't burn. It did. That is the weirdest thing. All of that fire, it did not melt my spare tire. Weird. Okay. Weird. I just thought about that. That spare tire is still there. But it burned through the ceiling, through the wall, on both sides of the RV. There were holes you just look up and see the sky. Smoke was everywhere, of course. Water was everywhere, of course. And I'm appreciative of what they did, but I was like, could y'all not have just contained it? Because y'all, when I say all of my clothes, because it was in the bedroom, all of my clothes, everything was soaked. I lost some things, of course, replaceable insurance. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We are still waiting to find out what exactly happened. USAA is our insurance carrier for now, but they will not be our carrier for the cars or our house going forward because we have had the worst service. We have only talked to the adjuster, not we. My husband talked to the adjuster one time, and that was, I think, the day of. He has not returned any phone calls. We have called several times. They tried to lowball us on the settlement. And it was just, USAA sucks right now. Never had a problem before when we weren't. I've never had an accident that was my fault, but they suck right now, okay? Progressive was my carrier for my RV. They have been great. I've gotten paid for my emergency expenses. They have been communicative. Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that about Progressive though. But hey, it is what it is. All right. So does anybody have any questions? Anybody got any feedback? Want to talk about some other stuff? Because remember, ask me anything within reason. Within reason, within reason. But I'm really hoping that Progressive will push USAA to do a forensic investigation of the car, because after the fact in the RV community. Oh, thank you, Gary Pooh. Now, before I bought this Kia Soul, before my husband, I told him what I wanted. I did weeks of research trying to find the right tow vehicle. They're called tows in the RV community, which you tow behind you. And I knew I wanted to flat tow because I wasn't going to try to bring my Infinity. My Infinity, one, it weighs a lot. Two, I did not want to have to deal with a flatbed, trying to maneuver that into campgrounds and all of that. That was not my cup of tea. So I did a lot of research. What I didn't see any information that said what I found out after the fact. After the fact, when I started posting pictures about what happened, in the RV community, people were like, oh yeah, Kias are known for blowing up and exploding. And I'm like, what? I asked specific questions. Has anybody had any problems? Does anybody know any negative things about towing a Kia Soul? All of this, I looked at videos where people were attaching their tow packages to Kia Souls and all the things. And I thought I had all the information. Even when we got the car, we looked at the Carfax report and there were no recalls on it. We just thought that we had a good little car, and I didn't want anything big. I wanted something lightweight, something I could zip around town in and go places and do all the things, because I would take my RV and go sometimes. And y'all, my RV was 32 feet long, okay? She was what, almost 13 feet wide, 10 no, wait a minute, maybe she's 13 feet tall and 9 feet wide. She wasn't no baby. Okay, she no baby. You can't just take her everywhere. So that was the reason why my husband and I agreed to get me a tow. So yeah, nobody told me beforehand that these things had a tendency to just explode. But after I got that information, I started pulling up some videos, and the way the Kia caught on fire with the smoke billowing out of the hood, it was exactly like everybody else's that had these electrical fires. I was like, this is crazy. So I am believing that there was something electrical that happened. One, because first of all, my RV was cut off several times, right? It was off. I only got maybe a mile and a half from my campground. I wasn't doing no more than 40 miles an hour. Well, coming out of the campground, I wasn't even doing 15 miles an hour, right? That ain't gonna cause no fire. Second, I didn't get to go anywhere. I just didn't have enough power or anything that could have caused that car to do what it did. So, and again, my spirit kept telling me to check the tow. And I checked that tow, like, I checked it before I left. I checked it right when I got on. I checked it when I was checking the tank, when I finished emptying my tanks. I checked it on the side of the road. I checked that thing at least 4 or 5 times. So, oh yeah, Sanine, you know I'm an insurance agent, so you know I'm already on it, girlfriend. I'm already on it, and I already told them they have already. And my husband, who has been with USAA for 15 years or so, and he's already he was like, no, and they were telling him, you can email. He said, heck to the no. I don't pay you to email you. I pay you to speak to someone. You are not that busy that you cannot call me back. And if y'all work in a team atmosphere, like they were trying to tell us, why isn't someone on your team calling us to tell us what is going on? What they did was they thought they were just going to email us a settlement offer and we were just going to sign off on it. No, that ain't how this going to work. You're going to talk to me. You're going to talk to us. But definitely call the Department of Insurance. The Better Business Bureau, I don't really care too much about. I don't really, it does carry some weight, but they don't carry as much weight as reporting to the Department of Insurance and also to Consumer Affairs or the governor of the state where they are doing business. But most of these corporations, businesses, they already in bed with the government anyway. So, but I'm still going to report them. But the best thing that I could do is take my money and do exactly what I'm doing now, telling people about the piss poor service that we got. Gary, what is it, y'all? My barbecue is on standby. So now that we have shared about what happened with the RV, what's next for me? Well, RVing is in my blood. I love it. I am looking for me a bigger and better RV, although there's nothing that could be better than Liberty Serenity. And I will be uploading some pictures of Liberty Serenity because when I bought Liberty Serenity, she was all brown. But I renovated her Took me 40, almost 60 days from the time I got her, and I renovated her from the paint to the upholstery to the blinds to the flooring. She had a whole new makeover. If you have seen any pictures of my home, then you will recognize um, Liberty Serenity and why she was decorated the way she was. She felt like home. Liberty Serenity, she got her name because when I got her, she was definitely needed. She was needed for me to progress in my healing. She was needed for me to progress in finding Tracey again because I had lost me. Um, a video to come on that. So, because that's what this channel is about. This channel is about me sharing RV living, healing, and thriving. Because here, one thing that I will say about everything that has happened. I know it happened. Nothing just happens. There is a reason why this happened. And part of the reason that this has happened is because when I bought Liberty Serenity, I bought her by myself. I ain't asked my husband's, he ain't had no input. All he knew is I came home with an RV. But if you know me, you already know. But he was on board because it was what I wanted. It was what I needed. At any rate, video to come, and I will share about that. But what's next for me is that I'm getting another RV. Yesterday, hubby and I drove 4.5 hours down to Virginia Beach to check out an RV. It was not for me. They had not taken care of that RV. And the beautiful thing is that my husband and I are doing this together. He was not big on the RVing, and one day I will let him tell you why on the channel because that's his story to tell, it's not mine. And when you learn where you and your mate begin and end, not that you actually end, but just because that's my husband, it's not my story to tell. That is his story to tell. Now, if he gives me permission to tell the story, which I'm sure he would, but I would like for it to come from him because coming from him, it will have a different effect on the people who hear his story. And maybe, just maybe, him sharing his story will help someone else in a way that me sharing it would not. So that's why if he wants to share the story, I will, he'll be on the video with me. But that is it. I hope to be on the road by the fall. But the RV that I'm looking for, I don't want to get another one like Liberty Serenity because I can't replace her. She has a whole different place in my heart. And y'all, I did cry because I loved that RV. I love what that RV did for me. I loved how she changed some things in the minds of so many people. When people saw me jump out that RV, this little bitty little black woman handling that 32-foot RV in an arena that does not look like us, because so many of us didn't even think that RVing was something that we could do or should be doing, let alone camping in a campground, right? I mean, sleeping in a tent. Now, I ain't slept in no tent. I want to. But I haven't slept in a tent. I hadn't got there yet. I'm gonna need a little luxury in my tent. I'm gonna need an air mattress. I'm gonna need a toilet. Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm not kidding. I don't have to have it, but I want those conveniences, which is one of the reasons why I got an RV instead of a van, and one of the reasons why I got a Class A RV. So yeah, that's what's up for me. And drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Many of you have followed me on Instagram and Facebook, and you know that I went on a sabbatical I didn't even know if I was coming back to social media. I honestly didn't. Social media burned me out. And I needed that time to decompress, to come back to me. Oh, Janice, that's a good question. And I'm gonna come back to it. But I needed that time to again come back to me. I needed to figure some things out because I was allowing social media to dictate how I was showing up. I wasn't being authentic. I wasn't being me. I had lost me trying to build a business and be a great coach and be a great role model and all the things. And I needed to step back because I was failing miserably and it wasn't sitting well with me. So I'm back, but with a different twist. I'm just me. You like it, you love it. I might show up, I might not. I'm not making this. This is about building community now. And if anything else comes of it, great. And if not, I hope that whenever someone sees my videos, in some way I impact them in some way that causes them to move the needle on their healing journey, fears, that's been something that's been holding them back, RV living, especially if they are a woman, and especially specifically if they are a Black woman. Okay. Because I'm Black and my experience as an RVer is going to be a little bit different in some cases. Right. So, all right. Janice's question is she's interested in getting an RV. So she's asking, am I looking at RVs at dealerships or private owners? Actually, I'm looking at both, but I would prefer to buy from a private owner. I bought Liberty Serenity from a private owner in Delaware. And I have looked at some dealerships. Actually, yesterday, the RV that I was looking at in Virginia Beach was at a small dealership. Um, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. Like I said, it wasn't cared for the way um, the RV that I would like to have would be cared for. The people who owned Liberty Serenity before me, they took excellent care of her. Um, all the kinks have been fixed. Like they put sway bars on, they put steering stabilizers, they put air springs on. They made sure she was in top condition. I mean, I even have the maintenance records, the dates and everything. So for me, that is very important because one, for me, it's an investment because it's an opportunity for me to continue to travel the world and see the world. It's a way for me to continue healing. It is a way for my husband and I, when he starts traveling with me, to connect deeper. It's a way for me to spend more time with my family. My mom turned 76 yesterday. Happy birthday again, Mom. And I don't want to put my mom on the airplane with monkeypox and COVID. I don't. So I will take that ride to Georgia to spend time with my mama. And that was one of the reasons why I also got an RV. Um, so yeah, I would look personally, I would look at both RV dealers and private owners. And the one thing that I would say about if you're working with a private owner, be prepared to pay your tax tag and registration separate. So let's say that vehicle that you're looking at is $50,000. Know what the tax rate is in your area. You may not have to pay taxes in the area where you buy it in Delaware. Most private owners are not trying to collect tax. They just want to get their money and bounce. That's it, right? But when you go to register in your state, they want, and this is crazy. I didn't even buy it in Maryland. I bought it in Delaware, but I had to pay property taxes on it and register and get it titled in Maryland. And the state tax here is 6%. And then add on the registration fees. And so if that vehicle is $50,000, know what your taxes are in the state that you're going to register it in. So if it's 5% or 6%, I would say if it's 6%, I would say having another 8% available. So you might end up spending another $5,000 just on getting your vehicle registered and so forth. But I had the most amazing experience. And my second piece of advice for you, Janice, is this. I will not ever ever buy an RV that is not inspected by a national recreational vehicle inspector, NRVIA.org or NRVIA.com. That every inspector goes through the training, and every inspector can charge what they want. But here's what they're going to do. They're going to look at every part of the RV from the rooter to the tutor. However, what they do not look at is like the engine and stuff. They do provide um, oil samples, transmission samples. I think they also provide coolant samples. So make sure you have it inspected by NRVIA, not the dealership, not some RV dealership, but someone who knows RVs like the back of their hand. For instance, if someone has had an RV and it's been sitting and they've not driven it, you're probably gonna have some issues, right? If they've not exercised that RVs, tires need to be rotated so the oil can be distributed through tires. It's just like in our cars. We need to exercise the gears. The oil needs to go through and get lubricated, right? Now I know this because my brothers are these mechanics. I've had some lemons in my life, so I know these things about vehicles. And my ex-husband and I used to own used car lot, so I know a lot of these things. So there's some things you can't pull over my eyes when I'm trying to buy a vehicle, whether it's a car, a truck, or an RV, right? But you may not know that. So I'm sharing that with you because people will try to tell you, oh, yeah, it's in great condition. Oh, she cranked right up. Well, she might crank right up, but I might only get a mile away because guess what? The gaskets are dried out. She hadn't had an oil change in God knows how long. There may be debris in the fuel injectors. Are they using Seafoam? Are they using Startron? What are they doing? Or what have they done? And if they don't have maintenance records or some way to tell me what they show me, I'm not trying to buy. I don't care how good a deal it is, because it ain't a good deal if I got to go spend a whole lot of money to make it right. I don't want a project. I want only project I want is to make her look the way I want on the inside. My interior decorating. That's the only project I want, because that's it. So definitely make sure you do that. So, and also, if you know that you are looking for an RV, start now, because it is hard to find mechanics for RVs that work up under the engine. So start looking in your general area to connect with some of these people and get in some of these RV groups and start asking questions to find some people to work on your RV. You can find somebody to work on the house part of the RV. Pretty easily, but they do get booked up. So yeah, but for me, I really hope to buy from a private owner versus a dealer. The dealer is all of it's wrapped up into one thing, and I can just finance it and it's done, versus me having to pay one person here and then go pay. I don't have to worry about going to the DMV to get my tags and stuff. It comes directly to me in the mail. So that's the good thing. And then my last thing, Miss Janice, is this: if anybody is rushing you about getting the RV inspected or telling you, oh, it's in great condition, that ain't the people you need to be buying from. There's a reason why they want you to hurry up and buy that RV. I'm just saying. You ain't hear it from me, but I'm just saying. You are welcome, beautiful. You are so welcome. Any other questions? I'm trying to get rid of this cough. Ever since I breathed the fumes, because the RV roof and some parts of the RV have fiberglass, I've had this post-nasal drip. And then my best friend, I'm pretty sure he probably already had COVID when he visited me on the 4th, but he didn't know it. And then he and my daughter came the day of the accident. I mean, they were there. They came. I'm so grateful for gauge it. So we have been best friends at least 3 decades. Jasmine wasn't even 5, I don't even think. At least 3 decades. When I tell you he was there on the 4th, had just drove back to Atlanta, which is about 4 hours from Savannah, and he drove back the next day to see about me. He got in touch with my husband, and they worked there, and yeah. But I'm so grateful for him. But anyway, he had COVID. He let us know. We didn't find out until like on the 10th or something like that. I did test positive, but I didn't have any symptoms. The only thing I had was this postnasal drip, which I'm pretty sure is from the smoke and inhaling. And even though I had a mask on when I was inside the RV, I'm still trying to get rid of this. So thank you for allowing me to drink my water. But it's much better. I'm doing my neti pot, and I'm doing, what is it? Claritin and Benadryl. Makes a world of difference. It's so much better. Any other questions? Janice, what kind of RV are you looking for? Are you looking for a class A like mine that looks like a bus? Are you looking for the B that kind of looks like a shuttle bus? Or are you looking for a C that looks like a moving truck? Or are you looking at a van? Y'all don't be shy. Y'all got me for another 15 minutes or so. Ask all your questions. But y'all, I am enjoying looking for another RV, but I'm not enjoying it. Because you got to travel sometimes to find what you want. And yeah, I'm looking at one now that's in New York. And there is another one that I found, because there are 2 models that I want. I'm looking at 2 different models, same maker. Um, and it's hard finding them because I want a specific type of RV and I want specific things. The one thing that I loved about Liberty Serenity was that when you came into Liberty Serenity, it didn't feel like an RV. One, because I had decorated her, but because when you came in, it was the living space was right in front, and it just felt welcoming. And I also